All right, and so you might say to yourself, come on, hilarious, just like any other week. But he's played huge games, and he's never lost one. Between LSU and Cincinnati, he's 7-0 in what would be described as postseason games. And that doesn't even include like the trip to Bryant-Denny Stadium when he beat Alabama on the road. He never loses big games. And in these playoff games, he's thrown 24 touchdowns, 3 picks, and averages 363 yards per game. So we touched on this earlier, but Nick, you weren't with us at that point. And I'm fascinated by that quality because you played with Brady, who probably as well as anyone in history managed to be at his best in the biggest moments and the biggest games. Here's a kid doing that at the very beginning of his career. What is that quality that enables a quarterback to be at his best when it matters most?
Well, it's confidence, and he has that confidence, and it's not so much overly cocky. And when you have that confidence, you know that in any situation you can rely on your skills, and he puts in the work. He's a young player that's a leader on that team, and the best way to be a leader is to come in every day and to be a great example to the rest of your teammates. And like Tom was always that leader. He always was in the building first, staying late, the last one to leave, and he was confident. And it comes from a place of knowing that I can get this done. I've been here, I've done it, and everyone else around you is better because of it.
RC, though, there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, or confidence and arrogance. And some of the statements that, have come from him have sounded a little bit cocky, right? He called Kansas City the second best team in the conference, and some of the other stuff that he
twice in a month.
Fair enough. They were hosting their 4th straight AFC Championship game with a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback, and been in the last 2 Super Bowls. But okay,
I hear you.
The point is, some of those statements can go a lot of different ways, right, RC, depending on the person and the circumstances. So why do they all seem right with him?
Well, I think the one thing we have to realize about Joe Burrow, he's not one of these first overall picks that's always had things his way. This is a guy who didn't start at Ohio State, had to transfer to LSU in order to get his opportunity. And then he wasn't great in his junior season. And the next year he takes that step up and he wins the games, or he's in the playoff games that you kind of talked about, Greeny. Joe Burrow has a confidence in himself that is unbendable, not unbreakable. It's unbendable. He never wavers off of who he is. And I think it's that level of confidence and it's that level of, I guess you could say, arrogance that makes the other people believe in him as well. If you don't think that Jamar Chase, that T. Higgins, that Zach Taylor, that Joe Mixon, Trey Hendrickson believe in Joe Burrow, then you are out of your freaking mind. This is a dude that not only changes organizations and universities, he makes you feel like you have a chance just by being in the locker room. And that's a very Tom Brady-like quality.
Now, you've been around them a lot, Dan, and you've seen that up close and personal.
Absolutely, and I've heard players talk about how natural it is, how easy it comes out, how he has that chip on his shoulder, and they respect that because they feel the same way about themselves. You talk about Brady. I never covered Brady up close. In a previous life, I covered baseball. I covered Derek Jeter. I always used to think that Jeter was not a guy who elevated his game in the biggest moments. He was a guy that stayed the same in moments where other people kind of fell apart. Right? And I think that, I thought Eli Manning was a little like that with the Giants, right? I think that's a quality of, like, Joe Burrow saying, it's just another game. I'm used to this. I think he's telling us the truth. Like, this feels like the right place for him to be, and he feels comfortable here, and more so than I do with whatever's going on.
We got some bay. It's okay.
Go ahead. The studio is moving. Yeah. An earthquake. I don't know. But it could be the shades, the cigar, the chain. They're real diamonds. Yes, they are.
They are.
I've told you who he is.
He's likable.
I've told you who he is. He's not Tom Brady.
No.
He's not Joe Montana.
No.
He's Joe Namath. He's Broadway Joe. That's who he is.
He's got a great demeanor to him, and everybody likes him, and hopefully our building doesn't.
That stuff is, now the audience can't hear that. That stuff is the fur coat of this generation.
There he is.
The cigar, the sunglasses, all that kind of stuff. The guarantees. Namath guaranteed the Jets were going to win a Super Bowl in which they were 18-point underdogs and backed it up. And that's exactly what this kid is doing. That's who he is. Call him Broadway Joe. I know he plays in Cincinnati, but call him Broadway Joe. That's the Joe that I think we should be comparing him to. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.